Students, I welcome you all to CLAT series, lecture number 2, Legal Maxims, Phrases and Terms, sponsored by Sri Jendra Exxon. I am your mentor, Shekhar Gehlot. We are now discussing different legal maxims, phrases, and terms. Okay, so in the series, let's begin with the class. Uh, Non obstante. Okay, non obstante clause, usually we refer it. Okay, usually we refer it as a non obstante clause. This is a legal term. What does it mean? It means notwithstanding any statute to the contrary. Like, I'll give you an example. It begins with like this. Okay, something you will read like this in the law. Okay, this clause is known as non obstante clause. When it begins with notwithstanding, okay, when the law begins with the word notwithstanding. Now let us read the word. It says, notwithstanding anything contrary to the law shall be this. That means whatever may be the contrary. Okay, suppose if the suppose there is a new law which says cannot buy Bitcoin in India, and it will begin with notwithstanding anything contrary, one cannot buy Bitcoin in India. It means that whatever may be the law before, there may have been a RBI circular which would have permitted people to buy Bitcoin. There may have been some government instructions under which people would have been allowed to buy Bitcoin. But when the law comes, law says notwithstanding anything contrary. That means whatever may be the any other law or any other rule be stating, this rule shall prevail over every other rule. Okay, this is the non-obstante clause. When it comes, that means any other law which is not in conformity with this new law shall be not read. Okay, or the law will give way to this new law. This law shall prevail over any other previous law. Nociter a society. Okay, nociter a society. This is a legal maxim. It means the meaning of a doubtful word may be ascertained by reference to the meaning of words associated with it. Many times in law, we encounter a situation in which the meaning of a particular word becomes doubtful. Then it becomes very difficult to understand what the law is trying to say, and the matter reaches court. How will the court find out that what the law is trying to say? Court will read the surrounding words. Okay, court will read the surrounding words. And as per the surrounding words, court will come to a conclusion. Nocitera society. The meaning of doubtful word would be ascertained from the words associated with it. Let us do an example. It's actually a case law. There was an act which said, okay, there was a law which said explosives must be stored in a case or canister. The accused stored the explosives in a bag of cloth And then, when police prosecuted him for keeping the explosives in unhealthy or unsafe conditions, hazardous conditions, he pleaded that there is doubtful that the law is doubtful regarding case. What is case? Case can be anything. I assume this bag of cloth to be a case. None court applied the rule of nociter associ and read the word case with canister. Case or canister. It said that case should be something which is just like a canister, which is as strong as a canister. So definitely a bag of cloth cannot be equated with the strength of the canister. So the court held using this legal maxim nociter society that bag of cloth was not sufficient to be called as a case of canister. A case or canister. Nova Constitutio Furis Formam Imponere Debet Non Protenteris. A new law ought to be prospective and not retrospective in operation. Okay. Prospective means which goes on, which comes into operation today. Okay, there are two type of laws. There are two type of laws. Okay, there are two type of laws, retrospective and prospective. Retrospective law is one which comes into effect from a previous date. Like suppose a law, Citizenship Amendment Act is brought by the Government of India in 2019, but it says anyone who has entered India after 2014. Okay, that means it is operative from 2014. So it becomes a retrospective law. Okay, it becomes a retrospective law because though it is enacted in year 2019, but its operation dates back to 2014. That is a retrospective law. Contrary, a prospective law is one which comes into operation only on date of enactment. Suppose some law like farm bills, they have been enacted in 2020, so they will come into operation right from the enactment. That is only from 2020 only, and they will not date back to 2014, 2005 or some previous date. So this maxim usually says that law ought to be that what is the good position of a law? A good law should always be prospective. Okay, a good law is it does not say that law cannot be retrospective. Law can very well be retrospective. And we have seen the Citizenship Amendment Act, it is retrospective in nature. But it says a good law ought to be prospective in nature. This is a policy guideline and which has been followed by the governments time and again. It is a very rare thing that a retrospective law is brought by the government. Almost 90% laws are prospective in nature. Nullus commodum capere potest de injuria sua propria. No man can take advantage of his own wrong. Okay, no one shall be allowed to take advantage of his own wrong. Suppose let's take the example of encroachment. Okay, I have a 100 square yard plot, so I am allowed by the law to occupy only 100 square yard. And there's a public street in front of my house, and I occupy some part of that public street as well. Now I have my built up area is 130 square yards. I have made 30 square yards more. Okay, and I have made some like expensive construction in that area. Now the government after 5 years have come to demolish it, and now I go to the court and I tell the court that I have been living in this area and I have living on this encroachment for last 5 years. Now they should not demolish it. The government will say, the court will say, no one is allowed to take advantage of his own wrong. Now, this is a wrong thing. What you have done, what I have done is a wrong thing, and now I cannot take advantage of this wrong thing. Okay, so demolition will take place. Or suppose I am a thief, I enter somebody's house. Okay, I enter somebody's house to commit a theft. Now, this person has two ferocious dogs, which I am not aware. When I enter the house, these dogs bite me off and they bite me very badly. I have bite on my neck, I have bite on my back, I have on my legs, on my hands, everywhere they have injured me ferociously. I am admitted to hospital. Now I cannot file a case against the owner of the house that he has kept two dangerous dogs in his premises, which he should not have done, and those dogs have injured me very badly. Court will say you cannot take advantage of your own wrong. I was wrong when I tried to rob his place, when I tried to commit theft at his place. So I myself was wrong at that place. So I cannot later on come and say that you punish this man for having dogs in his house. Next one is obiter dicta. Remarks of a judge which are not necessary for reaching a decision but are made as comments, illustrations, and thoughts. A judgment of the court is usually comprised of two parts. One is obiter dicta, another one is ratio decidendi. So, what happens? Suppose there's a dispute between me and Sham. We have a dispute, or let us say over a piece of land, okay, or a boundary wall. We have a dispute. Now, judge will make some observation about the boundary wall or the land. Okay, this does not become the part of the law. Okay, this is a general observation. Obiter dicta is the general observation made in a judgment and it does not become effective law. Only the law laid down by the court. When court comes to the conclusion that Ram legally cannot build that boundary or I legally cannot build that boundary, that is the only legal part. Whatever is discussion is obiter part. Obiter means general discussion. Whatever is a general discussion in the judgment is not binding. Okay, binding on the parties but not other people. But the law laid down, okay, the legal position propounded by the law in a judgment is applicable on all. Parimateria of the same matter on the same subject. Okay, parimateria means two laws are parimateria. Two laws or two judgments are parimateria. Parimateria means they deal with the same matter or they are on the same subject matter. Okay, like suppose one law is made up by the state of Tamil Nadu, Motor Vehicle Act of Tamil Nadu, and one law is made by the Union of India, Motor Vehicle Act of India, and they are both laws are parimateria. Both are on the same subject matter. So now court will decide which will be which will prevail in Tamil Nadu, the Tamil Nadu law or the central law, because both laws are parimateria, both deal with the same subject matter. Okay, and both are contradictory to each other now. So both cannot be allowed to operate. And we have a detailed procedure in the Constitution of India to resolve such disputes. So Court will then look to that center state relations issue and then will come to a conclusion. Per incurium. Per incurium means by mistake. Okay. Per incurium is by mistake. So usually this per incurium is used for a judgment which a court has rendered by mistake. By mistake. Now you would be surprised how a court can deliver a judgment by mistake. No. The basic meaning here is that court, when the court delivered the judgment, court was not aware of the actual law. Okay. And court relied on some law which was not good law. Okay, now you must be laughing how court cannot be aware of the law. Yes, it may happen a lot many times that a judge is holding a court but he is somehow not aware of the latest law, or the lawyers arguing the court, they are not aware about the latest law. Okay, so they are arguing on a previous law. Meanwhile, there is a change in the law. No one is aware. So when the judgment is delivered on this previous law, the judgment will become a per incurium judgment. That means a judgment which is rendered by mistake. By mistake of what? By mistake of law. That the court was oblivious of the prevailing law. That is per incurium. Qui fecit, vi fecit per oleum fecit per se. Okay, vi fecit per oleum fecit per se. He who acts by or through another acts for himself. Okay, a person who does a thing through the instrumentality of other is held as having done it himself. Now we come to a case of principal and agent relationship. Now we have discussed that there is an agency. In the contract law we discussed this. In the company law also we discussed it. Okay, that there is a relationship between of principal and agent, between company and its employees. So what, from where do we get this relation which says that when an agent does something, principal is also liable for that thing. Okay, when an employee does something, the employer is liable for the consequences of that act. How do we come to know that particular thing? This is the maxim for the basis of that understanding. We facet per oleum facet per se. He who acts by or through another acts for himself. That means when the employer means, suppose I am having 20 employees. Okay, I am acting through these 20 people. Okay, what I'm doing is, I am what they are doing is they are carrying out my work. Okay, so I am acting through these 20 employees. So when I'm acting through these 20 employees, if whatever they are done, I am bound by that. Okay, when I act through them, it is equal to acting myself. Okay, one who acts by or through another acts for himself. That's it. Quid pro quo. Okay, quid, let's have comment may will use the law of agency. Quid pro quo. What for what or something for something. Okay, what for what or something for something. What for what or something for something. Quid pro quo usually is a Maxim used in cases of corruption. Okay, corruption. When usually you must have heard the terms like that the IS officer allowed the tender to such company, and when it allowed the tender it received money for providing that tender. Excuse me. So in those cases we say that the officer received money as a quid pro quo. As a quid pro quo. What for what? Money for tender. Something for something. Money for issuing tender. Or a judge has taken a bribe for delivering a judgment. Then we can say that he has received the money as a quid pro quo for delivering the judgment. What for what? Money for judgment. Something for something. Something is money for something for judgment. Okay, quid pro quo. Kickbacks also we can call it. Quo warranto, an order issued by the authority of kings. Since we do not have kings anymore, we can replace it with the government or the court. Okay, because court is the real king nowadays. A legal proceeding during which an individual's right to hold an office or government's privilege is challenged. Quo warranto is usually a writ in which the court asks the holder of office. Holder of office means someone who is holding that office, occupying that office, that by what qualification are you holding that office? Are you qualified enough to hold that office? And how are you holding that office? That is quid pro that is quo warranto, and this is also a part of writ in the series of so many writs we have discussed in the constitutional law, like mandamus habeas corpus. So along with this we have done it in detail. Okay, so in order to have a clear understanding, you people may refer to my constitutional law slides. Ratio decidendi, the reason or rationale for the decision by court. Okay, ratio is usually when a court delivers a judgment. Okay, when a court delivers a judgment, then ratio is the legal reasons which prevailed, legal reason or the legal understanding which prevailed for the court to deliver a judgment. Why did the court deliver such a judgment? Okay, now the court says that Ram Janmabhoomi case, Ram Janmabhoomi should be given to Hindus and Muslims should be given 5-acre land separately in Ayodhya, and government should facilitate the construction of a mosque. This is the decision of the court. Okay, this is the decision of the court. But why such decision has come up? What led to such decision? What is the reason for such decision? That is called ratio. Okay, the reason for such decision is called ratio decidendi. Res integra, an entire thing, an entirely new or untouched matter. Okay, in the law there are so many issues which are res integra. Res integra is a situation in which we do not have a law on that situation, or we do not have a judgment of the court on that situation. And you may be wondering how these situations could come up. Yes, there may be a lot of situations in which we do not have any previous law at all. We can have an example of COVID-19. For the medical history, This COVID-19 is very unprecedented issue. This is a res integra issue. They do not have any medicine or any history over the COVID-19 pandemic. Similarly, like they take the issue of Bitcoin, whether the Bitcoin is legal or not. This matter is res integra. We do not have any law over the Bitcoin. Okay, or when in 1963, for the first time, a person, Neil Armstrong, landed on the moon, then the government started thinking about the space laws. You people may not be aware, but we have space laws as well. Okay, so those issues were that time res integra. Okay, so this is res integra means something which is not dealt in earlier, something which has come new or afresh. That is called res integra. Res ipsa loquitur. Res ipsa loquitur, this maxim says things speak for itself. Okay, or we can better put it in the way facts speak for themselves. Facts speak for themselves. Okay, whatever is the fact, whatever are the whatever is the picture of facts at some area, whatever is the picture of circumstances will definitely answer for itself. Now let us say a murder has been committed, okay, and I am found near the dead body and my clothes are blood stained. Okay, then things speak for itself. Then the res ipsa loquitur rule says that facts speak for itself. It's a fact that there is a murder and I am found near a dead body, my shirt is blood stained, then definitely I have something to do with the crime. Either I am the accused in the crime or I am trying to save the person. Now we'll find out what role I have in the crime, but definitely in this event I have a role. Res ipsa loquitur. Okay, or there is a bank robbery. Bank robbery and certain series of bank notes are robbed. And now I am found in possession of those bank notes which are identified by the series number. Then res ipsa loquitur, things speak for themselves. That means I have some connection with the bank robbery. Either I am a part of the bank robbery, I am the robber, or robbers have committed a fraud upon me and given those notes to me. Either of it, but definitely these notes belong to bank and I have some role. What role? Whether I have an innocent role or whether I have a guilty role, we'll see it later. Res ipsa loquitur, facts speak for themselves, things speak for itself. Res judicata, a thing adjudged. Res judicata means a thing adjudged or a case which has already been decided. Our law says when a case which comes to the court, suppose there's a case between me and Sham. We have gone to the court and the court has decided the case, suppose in the favor of Sham. Okay, now I cannot again go to the court and raise the same dispute again and again. It is also just like the maxim which we read earlier, which says no man can be vexed twice for the same thing. Okay, so I cannot drag the Ram to the court, Sham to the court for similar boundary wall more than one occasion. Okay, so res judicata says when the court has decided that the boundary wall belongs to Sham, then it is final. I cannot again go to the court and say, no, no, you issue the boundary wall to me. Only once the court can take the issue of whether boundary wall belongs to me or Sham. Only once court can take up this issue, and when court has decided, it has decided forever. It will operate forever. No one can change this legal position, and I cannot go back again to the court because I am barred by the res judicata. Res judicata says thing which has been once decided need not be decided again. Subsalient wonder silenced without any notice being taken.
It's 9 o'clock.
The principle of sub saliento says under silence or without any notice being taken. The sub saliento, the usual procedure of law. Usual expectation of the law is that people will speak up if something unusual or something wrong is being done to them. But somehow, if they do not raise any voice, okay, they accept that wrong thing, or they themselves are doing that wrong thing very silently. So we say that you cannot now dispute that wrong committed to you. Okay, because of the maximum of sub saliento. Because when you were supposed to raise your voice, you did not raise your voice. Now you are precluded from raising your voice. Like we discussed in the case of contract, for 1 year we can raise the issue of coercion or fraud. But for the 1 year, if we do not raise the issue of coercion or the fraud, then the court cannot declare the contract as void. 1 year is the limitation. So if 1 year you remain sub silento, you do not come to the court. Then later on, if you go to the court, court will say, no, sub silento is applicable here, and your issue cannot be taken up now. Suppressio verio suggestio falsi. Concealment of truth or statement of falsehood. Okay, suppressio veri means concealment of truth. Veri is truth. Or suggestio falsi, statement of falsehood. That means when you are going to the court and bringing a fact in the knowledge of the court which you know is false, or you know the truth but you say that I do not know the truth. Okay, so suppressio veri is concealment of truth, or suggestio falsi is statement of falsehood. This is applicable for the adjudication of the law. When you are going to hide something and you know it, and it is later comes to the court knowledge of the court that you concealed that truth, then you shall be guilty of suppressio veri of your and suggestio falsi, because not only you will conceal the truth, but in order to conceal the truth you will have to state a falsehood as well. Okay, so you shall be guilty of committing this suppressio veri and suggestio falsi. Ubi jus ibi remedium. There is no wrong without a remedy, or where there is a right, there is a remedy. Ubi just means wherever there is a just means right. Ibi, wherever is remedium, remedy. Ubi just ibi remedium, it's a very salutary principle of the law which says whenever there is a right, there has to be a remedy. The law gives you a right to cast your vote. The law gives you right to cast your vote, but suppose on the day of polling, the election officer does not allow you to enter the booth and cast the vote. Now you have a right to vote, but you are not allowed to vote. What will you do? Suppose if you go to the court will say we cannot do anything for you. Then what good is this right for? You give it right to the people and you do not provide remedy. That means that right will become unusable, because anyone will violate it, and when I'll go to the court for restoration of my right, court will say you do not have any remedy. Okay, so this maxim comes into picture which says ubi jasibi remedium, which means there is no wrong without a remedy, or wherever there is a right, there is a remedy. When court gives me a right, when the law gives me a right that you have a right to cast vote, it must also give me at the same time a remedy, that in case I am not allowed to cast my vote, what should I do? Okay, so when there is a right, there is a remedy. Wherever there is a right, there is a remedy. This is the meaning of this dictum. Ubi known as principales, non potest as accessorius. Where there is no principal, there is no accessory. Accessory is agent. Accessory is an agent or a participant. Okay, the law says when you are okay, suppose let's take I am a bus driver and now I have committed some accident. Now you are trying to call me an agent of some employer, but you are not able to trace my employer. Then that means rule of agency cannot be established. Okay, where there is no principal, there is no accessory. Okay, or you call me to be working on somebody's instruction and you are not able to find out who that somebody is. Then that means I have committed no offense because you are saying that that illegal, that principal is illegal and I am the agent of my principal, but you do not know who's the principal is at all. If you do not know who the principal is, you cannot charge me as well. Okay, where there is no principal, there is no agent or there is no accessory as well. Vigilantibus et non dormitibus jura sub venient. Law aids the vigilant and not the dormant, or laws aid assist those who are vigilant, not those who sleep upon their right. This can be read. This could be understood. Subsaliento. Okay, subsaliento means when you are silent on something, you cannot agitate it later on. Similar is the case. Law aids the vigilant and not the dormant. Dormant means who is sleepy. Okay, laws assist those who are vigilant, not those who sleep upon their rights. So suppose now my right has been trampled upon by some government agency, my house has been demolished, or my promotion has been stalled, or my pension has not been paid to me, or my right to vote has not been allowed to I have not been allowed to cast my right to vote. And after 2, 3, or 5 years, I go to the court and say that 5 years ago this happened with me. Then court will say, "Vigilantes et non dormitibus jura subvenient," that lowers the vigilant and not the dormant, because you slept over the violation of your rights for 5 good years and now you have come to the court. Then we cannot help you out because you should have been vigilant. You should have reached to us the moment your rights were trampled upon. Okay, it says everyone should be cautious of their rights, cautious, and whenever a right is trampled upon, they should reach the court immediately. Voluntary non-fit injuria. To the consenting, no injury is done. To the consenting, no injury is done. Voluntary non-fit injuria means if I voluntarily If I voluntarily accept injury upon me, no one is responsible for that voluntary non-fit injury. Now we have a COVID-19 pandemic, okay, and a lot of volunteers are sought by the big pharma companies for trials of COVID-19 vaccines. So suppose some volunteer comes and says that I'll be a volunteer, and he later on dies. Then he cannot, or his family cannot, make a claim against the this company, pharma company, because voluntary non-fit injuria, he himself assumed the risk. He became a volunteer for the vaccine. Okay, and the vaccine did not work. It was a trial. He should have known the risk. Or when I go to play the cricket, I should be aware that they are playing with a leather ball, and tomorrow and the bowler is bowling at a speed of 160 km. If the ball hits me, I may suffer an injury or I may die, and if something happens to me, bowler is not responsible. Okay, the bowler is not responsible. Batsman has himself consented to the injury which may occur during the game. Voluntary non-fit injury. But suppose I am only a fielder and bowler suddenly bowls towards me and I am hit. Then that is not voluntary non-fit injuria. Then I have not consented to injury because he should have bowled only to the batsman not to an umpire or a fielder. Okay, or if I go to watch a match in the stadium and the ball hits me, the batsman hits a six and the ball drops to me on my head or my shoulder, I suffer injury. Then I cannot say that batsman hit a six, the six hit me on the head and batsman should now compensate me. No, that is excluded by the principle of voluntary non-fit injury. When I go to the stadium, I am aware that ball may come to me and I may suffer some injury. Then I am willingly taken that injury. So when I am willingly taken an injury, other people cannot be accused for it. That is voluntary non-fit injury. Now we are done with legal maxims. Let us legal maxim or phrases. Let us do legal terms. Okay. We'll now do what legal terms are. The first legal term is ad idem, which means identity of minds. The first legal term is ad idem, which means identity of minds. When we were doing the law of contract, we discussed that consensus ad idem or ad idem has to be there for entering into the contract. That means identity of minds. That means agreeing on the same thing in same sense. Okay, when I talk about a vehicle, me and Ram enter into sale and purchase of vehicle, then we should have an understanding what is vehicle. Even a car is a vehicle, a truck is a vehicle, and is a bicycle is a vehicle, and a motorcycle is a vehicle. We should both know that when we talk about vehicle, we are talking about a four wheeler. And what four wheeler? We are talking about suppose Hyundai car. Okay, identity of minds. It is not that he is thinking about a two wheeler and I am thinking about a six wheel truck. That cannot be called an identity of mind. Ad item means when your contract will be valid only when it has ad item, when it has identity of minds, when you people agree on same thing in same sense. That is the rule of ad item. Alibi elsewhere. Alibi means when the crime was committed or when the event happened, you were not available there. You must have seen in the movies that a person is accused of committing a crime and later on he proves when the crime was committed, I was not actually present at the spot, I was somewhere else. So when the crime was committed, when I was not present there, how could I commit the crime? Because for committing a crime, my presence is required. And when you successfully establish that you were somewhere else, that is known as proof of alibi. Alibi means you were elsewhere. Successful alibi. The rule of caveat emptor. We have discussed the rule of caveat emptor sufficiently in the Sale of Goods Act. Let the buyer beware. Please refer Sale of Goods Act. Please refer Sale of Goods Act. Damnum sine injuria. Damnum means damage. Sins means no. Injury means injury. Sine means no. So damnum sine injuria. Damnum is damage without legal injuries. That means you have suffered a damage, but there is no legal injury to you. Okay, you have suffered a damage but no legal injury. Like, take the example of a batsman. We have been discussing the example of a batsman. Damage but no violation of right. Okay, so I have a right that I should not be hit by someone, but when I am playing a boxing game, okay, when I am playing boxing, the opponent is hitting me. Opponent hits me on my head, on my mouth, in front of everyone, and he has beaten me black and blue. I have suffered a lot of damage, but no violation of right. There is no violation of right because when I enter into the ring, it is supposed that we shall enter into a slugfest. So when he beats me black and blue, I cannot say that he has beaten me or I cannot go to the court because it's a sport and there is a damage without legal injury. Damnum sine injury, a damage is there, but violation of legal right is not there. Ex gratia, as a favor, something which is done as a favor of or free of cost. Like you must have heard a lot of time government says that there is a train accident and we are issuing 5 lakhs rupees ex gratia to the injured and 20 lakh rupees ex gratia to the one who have died. That means government is giving that money free of cost as a favor. So when someone is doing something ex gratia, that means he is doing a favor upon you or he is doing it free of cost. Okay, ex gratia is a favor or free of cost. Prima facie, on the face of it. Prima facie means on the face of it. That is easily visible. Easily visible. Prima facie is something which you have done and that is easily visible. You cannot hide it. Okay. Suppose a goldsmith has accepted a gold. He is found to be having a gold, but he does not have the bill of the gold. Okay, and there is a complaint of theft regarding that gold. Some chain snatching took place. Lady went to the police and said that chain has been snatched. She gave a photograph and description of the chain. After 2 3 days, that chain was found with a goldsmith, gold seller. Okay, goldsmith. So police asked him, "Do you have a receipt for this chain?" Goldsmith says, "I do not have any bill or receipt for purchase." Then it is prima facie on the face of it. It is easily visible that he is engaged in this business of snatching of chain, that his agents are snatching the chain and then he is selling that chain legally from his shop. Prima facie, okay, that means on the face of it, easily visible. Injury without any damage. Okay, injury without any damage, like we discussed, damnum sine injuria, damage without legal injury. Similarly, there is legal injury without any damage. That means violation of right is there. No damage is suffered. Like we, violation of a right is there, but you have not suffered any damage. Suppose I wanted to vote for Trump. Okay, but when I go to the election, the returning officer or the election officer does not allow me to vote, and I could not vote for the Trump, but ultimately Trump wins. So when I voted for Trump, I wanted Trump or Modi to win, and now Modi has ultimately won, but he did not allow me to cast my vote. That is a violation of my right, though I have not suffered a damage. Okay, I have suffered no damage because by casting my vote, I wanted my candidate to win. My candidate has won as well. So I have suffered no damage, but there is injury to my legal right. My legal right has been violated. I should have been allowed to cast my vote, and he did not allow me. That is the case of injuria sine damnum. That injury is there, violation of legal right is there, though there is no damage to me. Okay. Lis pendens. That means during a pending litigation or suit. Lis means litigation. Pendens means pending. So whatever you do during a pending suit, that act will be called lis pendens. Okay. Locus standi, right to be heard. We have discussed this. Okay, we have discussed this in the maxims. Suo moto on its own, you must have heard a lot of times the court says that High Court took suo moto notice. Suo moto notice. Okay. So usually if something happens, something wrong happens, you people have the one with whom that wrong thing has happened, he is supposed to go to the court and inform that this wrong thing happened with me, and court will then take notice of it. But sometimes the wrong happens in such publicly and in such a manner that court is bound to take notice of that fact. Okay, then court automatically, without anyone approaching to the court takes notice that something wrong has done and I should hear it. That is called a suo moto proceedings. A suo moto proceedings, like your Jay Raj and Benik in Tamil Nadu. Two father son, Jay Raj and Benik, they were put into the custody, beaten black and blue, and then they ultimately died. The court took a suo moto notice. The High Court took a suo moto notice. Court read the newspaper report and took the notice, took the case that how could this be done. That is called suo moto. Ipso facto, by the very fact, it is just like res ipsa loquitur. Okay, facts speak for themselves. Ipso facto means by the very fact. Something, when you are saying that how can you prove something, you say this is not required to be proved, it is ipso facto, by the very fact it is a proof. Like, can a lion eat a deer? If someone asks you a question, can a lion eat a deer? You will say just because he is a lion, it's an ipso facto of proof that he can definitely eat a deer. Lion, ipso facto, is a danger. Okay. Or suppose I go into the jungle, there's a lion and I shoot him. And then tomorrow the wildlife people are running against my life, then that how could you kill a lion? I say that lion was there and he could have killed me. He could have killed me. In order to save my life, I killed the lion. Then they would ask me, you prove that lion was about to kill you. I would say, how do I prove it? It is ipso facto. When lion is in front of me, it is ipso facto itself a proof that there is a threat to my life. Okay. Quasi is like, quasi means like or similar. When we did quasi contract. Similar to a contract. Like or similar. Quasi means like or similar, like we discussed. Quasi contract, that means just like a contract. Res judicata, we have done a case which has already been decided. We have done about. Okay. Sub judice means under judicial consideration. Okay. Sub judice means judicial consideration. Sub means subject to. Okay. Subject to judicial consideration. Something pending with the court. You must have heard a lot of time in the media then that something is asked to the minister and the minister says the matter is sub judice, so I will not comment over it. That means the matter is pending the consideration of the court. That court is to take a decision on that matter, so I will not speak over it. Obiter dicta, things said during a judgment, like we have discussed about things said during a judgment which are not relevant to the case, they do not become law. Quantum merit, as much as deserved. Okay, merit means your merit. Quantum means amount. Okay, quantum means amount. Merit means your merit. So, as much as deserved. So, how much should be the compensation? So, quantum merit is the rule of deciding the compensation. If a law has been violated or the contract has been violated or you have suffered some injury due to the law, due to the fault of the government, then the question will come, how much should be the compensation given to you? Then the court will apply the rule of quantum merit, as much as deserved. Okay, as much as merit. That means whatever injury you have suffered, we will redress it. completely quantum merit. Whatever is the merit in the case, we will quantify the composition that ways. Modus operandi. Mode of operation. What is the mode of operation? We have done it. Res ipsa loquitur. Facts speak for themselves. We have done this as well. Quid pro quo favors in return. We have discussed it in the legal maxim, so does not need further discussion. Sin qua non. Very essential without which nothing. Sin qua non. Okay. Sine qua non or sin qua non. That means essential elements of doing something. Like we did the essentials of the contract. Then you can say that 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 free consent is sine qua non of a valid contract. That means no valid contract can happen without free consent being there. So sine qua non means very essential element. Okay. So human rights are sine qua non for development of a human being. That means human being cannot develop without human rights. Human rights must be there. They are very essential for the development of a human being. Sine qua non. Sine die. Okay, sine die means indefinitely. Sine die. Sometimes a case is adjourned. Sine die. That means indefinitely. Okay. Now suppose an explosive have been found in some market area and the police has taken that bomb in custody. Now police has started investigation, but nobody right now knows that who placed that bomb there. So now police will file a case and police will go to the court and say that sir, you adjourn this matter to sine die. You indefinitely adjourn this matter so that whenever we will find the accused, we will bring it to you. So the case will be adjourned sine die. Suppose after 15 years the accused is found, so the case will begin after 15 years. Okay, indefinitely adjourned sine die. Sometimes, usually the session of parliament, when there is a lot of hula balo in the parliament between opposition and the parties, then the speaker of the parliament says that parliament session is adjourned sine die indefinitely. It is adjourned and it will commence whenever the speaker will feel like. Stare decisis principle that later courts must follow the earlier courts. We discussed this in the maxim known as the tradition or the practice of the court is the rule of court. Stare decisis means the later court, suppose the court in 2020 must follow the decision given by the court in 2010 or 2019 or 1990, 1983. That means we should have certainty in the law, we should have uniformity in the law. It is not that yesterday one court said something, tomorrow other court is saying something else. No, all courts should speak in one language. And when will they speak in one language? When the later courts follow the language of earlier courts. Okay, so stare decisis means courts should follow the decision laid down by the earlier courts. Okay, they cannot come up with their new law every time. Obrima fide, utmost good faith. We discussed the cases of insurance are obrima fide. The contracts of insurance are obrima fide, which are the contracts of utmost good faith, where you cannot hide anything. Where you cannot hide anything and you have to reveal everything to the insurance agencies. You cannot hide anything. That is called contract of obrima fide. Amicus curiae is a friend of court which advises court on important issues. Okay, amicus curiae is friend of court. Now suppose court is listening the issue of this air pollution, but definitely judge is not an expert in the pollution resolution. Okay, he is a judge, but he is listening. So what he'll do is he'll appoint an expert on the who has conducted some research in the field of air pollution. He'll appoint him as a friend of court, that you be the friend of court, okay, and you advise me that what should be the decision here. What is the level of the pollution, what should be the optimum level of pollution, and how can we control the pollution. Someone will definitely assist the court, and that expert will be amicus curiae. It is known as amicus curiae, friend of court. Status quo ante, the previous position. Status quo ante, the previous position, okay. So sometimes the court is discussing status quo ante. Suppose a house has been demolished, and after the demolition the party goes to the court, like the Kangna Ranawat's case. Okay, Kangna Ranawat says that the BBMP or the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation has demolished my house illegally. So court will say let us go to the position which is status quo ante. Okay, the previous position. Let us go to the position that when your house was built, whether you had the permission to build or not. Okay, status quo ante means the previous position. Vox populi, the voice of people. Okay, vox populi is voice of people, usually used for countries which are republic or democratic countries like India. Okay, vox populi means the constitution of India is the vox populi. Okay, and our head is the vox populi. Our head of the India, head of the government is vox populi. Voice of the people rule India. That's it. Abate, to become, to reduce, or to become nil. Okay, when something becomes nil or it reduces in its impact, we can say it has abated. Okay, it has abated. Like floods have gone. There were floods in Hyderabad, but now the situation is normal now, so we can say that the situation has abated. Adverse situation has abated, or the floods have abated. Okay, so usually it is used in the criminal law. Used in criminal law. Okay, used in criminal law. Suppose there is a criminal prosecution against a criminal, but during the trial he has died. So the court will say the proceedings have abated. That means against him the proceedings have now become nullified, because we cannot charge someone who is already dead. So the proceedings qua that person will abate. Affidavit, a written statement of truth, signed and verified by the maker. This is a very general word. You must have heard it a lot of times in the newspaper or in the TV or in the films or in the series, that you have to file an affidavit. Affidavit is simply a piece of paper on which you state that whatever I am stating is truth, and I take an oath that I am not saying something false, and you have to sign and verify it. That is called an affidavit. Okay, it's a legal paper, legal evidence. Affray, public fighting which threatens people. Okay, affray means sometimes you must have seen that two cars get hit on the road. Okay, they brush against each other. Then what happens? The owner of the both the cars come out and start fighting in the public, which disturbs the public a lot, which halts the traffic, which creates a huge traffic jam, and then they are abusing each other. Suppose there are three people in each car, then 4 5 people fighting with each other, then people are terrified. That is called affray. You are committing nuisance to the public by fighting. That is called affray. Pardon, amnesty is pardon. Granting amnesty means granting pardon. That you, someone has committed a crime, you grant him amnesty. That means the president or the governor has granted him pardon, or they have forgiven him for his wrong deeds. Annul, to cancel. Okay, annulment is to cancel something. Suppose A and B are married and they feel that their marriage is not working for them, then they will go to the court and say that you please annul our marriage. Then court will pass a decree of annulment and the marriage will be cancelled. Okay, this is used for cancellation of marriage, annulment of marriage. Appellant means a person who has filed an appeal. Okay, so when you go in appeal, you become appellant. Bona fide means in good faith. Okay, bona fide means in good faith. Whatever you are doing is in good faith. Okay, you found a person, you thought that this person is someone who's wanted by the law, he's a fugitive, and you arrest that person. You are not a police person, but you are a normal citizen. You arrest that person. Yes, you have the power if the wanted citizen, if the person is a fugitive. But police comes and police finds out that this person is not a wanted person, and then he files a case against you. Then you go to the court and you say that what I did was in bona fide belief, and I believe that this person is a wanted fugitive. Okay, similar like bona fide, there is mola fide, mala fide. That means in bad faith. What you are doing is in bad faith. Okay, mala fide means bad faith. Bona is good, mala is bad, fide is faith. Okay, testate, dying after making a will. When we say someone died testate, that means the person made a will before dying. Okay, intestate means someone who died without making a will. So when we say that Ram died intestate, that means Ram died without making a will. Or Sham died testate, that means Sham died after making a will. Before his death, he had made a will that how his assets have to be divided. Ultra wires, we have done the something which is outside the power. We have done it in the company law. Please refer to the company law for ultra wires or the constitution as well. Void, what is void? Void means nullity in the eyes of law. Nullity in the eyes of law. Wager, wager we have done in the wager contract, that it's a kind of betting when you have no interest in the outcome and you cannot even control the outcome. You are just betting and there is just merely a winning or losing. Remission means to reduce. Okay, it is usually used in that sentence has been, there is a remission in the sentence. Court has granted remission in the sentence. Court has granted remission in the sentence. Like there was a famous case of Manu Sharma, and now someone has been granted remission, or there was a plea by the Tamil Nadu government as well, by Jayalalitha, that the Nalini or Nandini, who is guilty of exploding Rajiv Gandhi, that she and the other killers of Rajiv Gandhi be remitted. That means their sentences must be remitted, must be reduced. Okay. Repudiate, to refuse or accept. Okay, that means you have repudiated your contract. Okay, you said something earlier, but later on you repudiated. That means you refuse to accept what you stated. You refuse to accept that you stated that thing. Okay, repudiate means to go back on your promise. Revoke means to cancel something. It is just like annulment. Okay, revoke is just like repudiating or annulment. They all mean same things. You have revoked someone, something. Like you gave authority to your agent to act on your behalf, but now you have revoked his authority. That means he can no longer act on your own behalf. Okay, that is revocation of authority. Tacit. Tacit means a silent agreement. Tacit means a silent agreement. What you are doing is you are doing it silently. Okay, tacit is silent agreement. Like we discussed that sometimes we have an agreement merely by conduct, that a coolie came to the station and he picked up your luggage and started walking. You have no exchange of words, you do not know the coolie. Okay, but you accepted the agreement. That is called a tacit agreement, silent agreement. By the conduct only, nobody spoke anything, nobody asked anything, and the contract is conducted. Mala in se, bad in themselves. Okay, mala in se, mala is bad, se means themselves. Okay, something which is bad in itself, which does not require a further proof. Okay, which does not require a further proof, which is bad in itself. Suppose you are found having alcohol and you are not legal age, you are below 25 years, you are 22 years of age and you are found having alcohol, then that means your act is bad in itself. You cannot go to the court and say that everyone is having alcohol, alcohol is good. There is a research as well, what is bad in the alcohol, people are allowed, what is wrong with me and this and that. Court will say because you are not allowed, so your act is mala in se, bad in themselves. Your act is bad in itself. Just because you are not allowed to do so and you are doing it, that itself is bad. You forget about the effects or after effects of alcohol. Your having alcohol is bad. You may not be doing anything wrong after having an alcohol, but act is bad in itself. Mandamus means we command. We means court. Court commands some authority to do something. We have discussed this law of mandamus. Mens rea means guilty mind. We did actus rea and this is mens rea. Okay, and we did a law which says, we did a maxim which says actus nisi mens rea. That means act rea, guilty mind and guilty act must both come together. So mens rea means guilty mind. Your intention to commit an offense. Okay, guilty mind is your intention to commit an offense. This is a sine qua non or the very essential element of committing a crime in India. If you have no intention to commit the crime and something is done, this is called an accident. This is not called a crime. Okay, so in order to convict you for committing a crime, court must first find that you actually had mens rea, you actually had intention to commit the offense. Nexus means connection. Okay, nexus means connection. Sometimes you must have heard that there is a corporate nexus between the corporate people or the mafia, land mafia and the government. There is an illegal nexus between land mafia and the government. That means they are having a illegal relationship we are talking about. Okay, so when we talk about nexus, we means relationship or the connection. Nisi. Nisi means unless. Okay. Nisi means unless something is done, it shall be that way. Okay. Rule Nisi. Usually it is known as rule Nisi. Rule Nisi means unless something else is done, this position will prevail. Okay. Nisi. Unless. Non sequitur. An inconsistent statement like we discussed. Falsio. Okay, in which you are making a false statement or inconsistent statement. Non sequitur, when you are saying that A beat you down, later you say no it was B, then you say C, then you say D, then you again say no it was A. That is a inconsistent statement, like falsio suppressi and falsio veri. Pari passu. Pari passu means on equal footing. Okay, pari passu means on equal footing. When you are treating some people like you earlier, what used to happen was female and male, they used to have different identity in the law. Male used to be treated superior to the female, and female had a change it. Female was treated inferior. Okay, but later now we have maintained a pari passu position between male and female. That means now we treat male and female on equal footing. Legally, they are both equal, pari passu to each other. Okay. Per curiam. Per curiam means the opinion of court. Curiam means opinion of the court. Per means as per. As per the opinion of the court. Per curiam. As per the opinion of the court. Per curiam. Pro rata. Pro rata means in proportion. Pro rata means in proportion. Okay, suppose we are distributing something, we are distributing ration in COVID-19. So a family has 12 members, a family has another family has 3 members. So we will distribute the ration in pro rata mean basis. That means the family of 12 people will get ration for 12 people, and family of 3 people will get ration only of 3 people. We will not treat them pari passu, we will distribute it pro rata. Quantum is usually an amount. What is an amount? What is an amount? Quantum is an amount. Quantum. Actus reus, the guilty mind we have done. Sorry, the guilty act. We have discussed mens rea. Now we will discuss actus reus. Actus reus means the guilty act. So your guilty act alone is not punishable in the law. Your guilty act must be accompanied by a Mans rea, guilty mind as well. Okay. Ad hoc, we have discussed this thing. This is for some special purpose or for this purpose. That is a temporary or interim measure that is called ad hoc. Ad infinitum or infinity limitless. Okay, something which goes for infinity or which is limitless. That is called ad infinitum. Okay, ad infinitum. Animo testendi, without intention of making a will. So testendi is the testation is making a will. Someone dies intestate, that means he has not made a will. Someone dies testate, he has made a will. Animo testendi. Animo means intention. Okay. Animo means your mental state. Animus means mind. So animus means your intention state. So without intention of making a will. Audi alterum partem, here the other side. We have done this rule when we discuss the legal maxims. Audi alterum partem, here the other side. The rule of right to fair hearing is called audi alterum partem. Bona vacantia, goats without honor. Bona means ownership. Okay, bona is ownership. Vacantia is ownership, is vacant. Okay, there is vacant ownership. Goods without owner. Okay, bona vacantia is goods without owner. So who's the owner of bona vacantia? Someone who's the finder of the goods. Okay, some goods are lying without the owner. So who will become the ultimate owner of those goods? Someone who finds them first. Okay, the rule of first finder. The one who will find it first will become owner of it. Caveat vendita, like we have done caveat emptor, which says let the buyer be aware. The caveat vendita is used here for the seller. Let the seller be aware, because we are relying on the skill and judgment of the seller for purchase of that particular service or the goods. So if some fault is later on find out in that good or the service, then definitely seller is liable for that because of the rule of caveat vendita. Let the seller be aware. De novo, starting afresh. Okay, de novo we have discussed when you are starting something afresh. Novo means new, starting anew. Like suppose you people had a contract with each other, but later on you broken the contract. But now you want to start your relationship afresh. Now you enter into a new contract. That is called a de novo contract. Earlier contract is annulled or cancelled by the parties. Now a de novo contract came into picture, and you people are now starting afresh. Dolly incapax. Okay, dolly means someone. Dolly is a crime. Incapax means you are incapable of committing a crime. So who is dolly incapax? Dolly incapax means law presumes some people are dolly incapax. That means they can never commit a crime. What are these dolly incapax people? Usually a minor, child below 7 years, a lunatic, intoxicated, unsound mind. Okay, these people are usually law presume that a child below 7 years, a lunatic, an idiot, an intoxicated person. Intoxicated means someone who has been administered intoxication without his approval, or someone who is acting in self-defense, or someone who is acting into compulsion. They are incapable of committing a crime. That is called tolle incapax. Okay, usually used for a child below 7 years. So a child below 7 years, what it does, a 5-year child, what it does, he takes a sharp knife when the mother is sleeping, and he slit open her throat, thinking that it will do some magic for her. Probably he has seen someone in the TV and the mother is dead now. So the child cannot be prosecuted. Why? Because he is totally incapable. He is incapable of committing a crime. Use some generis, we have done this thing of the same kind, etc thing, like use some generis, like we did the example of the sports goods. Okay, so you can please refer to that slide. Indelicto means someone who is at the fault. Indelicto means someone who is at the fault. Someone who is at the fault. In limine. In limine means at the very outset. Limine means at the beginning, just at the inception, just at the beginning. In limine is called just at the beginning. So something is done which is in limine. Court disposes of your plea in limine. That means at the outset only court has come to a decision. That is very unfair, because court has not given you a time for presenting your case. At the very first date court has made some decision. That is called an in limine. Okay. In personam, against the particular person. Only, like we discussed, we have only two type of rights: in personam or in rem. In rem means when we have a right against the whole world. Suppose I own a car. I own a car. I do not have any agreement with anyone in the world. Suppose anyone does anything to that car, anyone damages my car, anyone puts a scratch on my car intentionally, anyone steals my car, or anyone retains my car illegally without my permission, anyone in this world, I have a right against that person. I can go and file a case against that person. Okay, but then that is called right in rem. But then there are rights which are right in personam. Right in personam means I have a right against a particular person only. Suppose I have taken 5 lakh rupees from Sham, that means I have a right in personam. I can take that 5 lakh rupees only from Sham. I cannot run away. I cannot chase away his wife, or I cannot run against his son in the court of law that his son should pay me 5 lakh rupees. No, only Sham should pay till the time Sham is alive. If Sham is not alive, definitely I can chase away his legal survivors. But till the time Sham is alive, I have a right in personam, which says I have a right only and only against Sham and not anyone else in his family. In rem is against the whole world we have discussed. Interim is just like ad hoc temporary measures for this special purpose only, which are done for some special specific reason. So we are now done with our class of legal maximum legal terms and legal phrases. So if anyone has any issue, he can definitely route it to me through the institution, and we'll discuss it in the problem solving classes if we do have it.